Nick's Thomas-Symonds, Shadow Minister without portfolio, is joining us talking about Azhar Ali. Of course, good to see you as always. Thanks for taking the time. What are your view on his comments?
Well, firstly, Kay, it's good to join you this morning, as always. The comments were completely wrong. They were totally unacceptable, and they in no way represent the views of the Labour Party. What Councillor Ali has also said is that he apologises unreservedly. He retracts the comments, and he's also said, which I think is hugely important, that he understands now the gravity, the scale of the offence that's been caused, and knows he needs to rebuild trust, huge task ahead of him with the Jewish community. And that is what I would now expect him to get on to do.
Why should the Jewish community accept his apology?
Well, look, I take what Councillor Ali has said at face value. He said he fell for an online conspiracy theory, and that does not represent his view. But he has to earn trust back. He has to now do that engagement that he needs to do to try to rebuild that trust. I also take into account too what Dame Louise Ellman has said about Councillor Ali, who she's known over many years, standing alongside her when she was subject to anti-Semitic attacks, and her judgment that this is out of character. And that is why I think, taking into account the immediate apology, as I say, the retraction, the genuine desire now to rebuild trust, I think they are very, very important factors now as we go ahead with Councillor Ali as the by-election.
Yeah, it's not an immediate apology. He said it immediately after what happened on the 7th of October. It's taken him until middle of February to apologise.
Yeah, look, the story has emerged, Kay, you're quite correct, in recent days. It's then arisen in the way it has, and Councillor Ali has made those comments now. I do take what he said at face value, but it is also about actions now. It isn't just about those words. It is also about now continuing to do that work to rebuild trust, which is going to be hugely important.
Well, the Board of Deputies of British Jews have said his comments are disgraceful and unforgivable.
Listen, I've worked with the Board of Deputies, and they're quite right to condemn the remarks that have been made. I've been clear as well that they are wrong, completely offensive and totally unacceptable. All I'm saying is that we're also taking into account what Councillor Ali has now said, that he fell for a conspiracy theory and they don't represent his real views, but also his history, as I've said, where Dame Louise Ellman, who has known him for many years, speaks about when he's stood with her against anti-Semitism, but also what he said in terms of that apology. But as I say, actions going forward now are going to be extremely important too.
But let's just be clear what happened. It was very soon after what happened on the 7th of October. The world was reeling by the barbarism of what happened on that morning. And this guy thinks it's okay to say, actually, Israel did that to themselves so that they could go and commit a genocide in Gaza. I mean, you're still content with him to represent Labour in the Northwest?
Look, that is appalling, and I unhesitatingly condemn those remarks. Councillor Ali is clear that he fell for an online conspiracy theory, and that does not represent his real views. As I say, Kay, it is that, together with the unreserved apology and retraction, but also the actions now to seek to rebuild trust. I can see it's going to be a tremendous task to do that, but that is what he seeks to do. And that is why he is our candidate up there in Rochdale now, ahead of that by-election, as I say, on the 29th of February.
But somebody who can fall for an online conspiracy theory of this magnitude, is he the right person to represent the good people of Rochdale?
But people can get things very wrong. That's obviously what's happened here. and Councillor Ali has to learn lessons from that. I think that we also take into account his reaction to this in recent days. That is why he continues to be our candidate up there in Rochdale. We'll continue to campaign up there in Rochdale now in the 2 weeks or so that remain.
Will he represent the Labour Party at the general election?
Well, look, selections for the general election beyond by-elections are obviously a separate matter that I can't, there's a separate process obviously that will take place for that. But for the by-election,
for him to be selected during that process?
Well, look, we're all subject to a process for the general election. I've been, reselected.
Not my question.
For my the question you're asking me is about selection for a general election. What I'm saying is, when you have a by-election, you then have a subsequent process after that for selection for the general election. That's just the way it is in the party. But with regard to, and that's a matter for the members in Rochdale, by the way, rather than from outside.
I understand why you're not pushing him into the long grass now, because literally you can't get a new candidate in time for this by-election, which is in just a couple of weeks' time. But, it could be months away that we see a general election. When Pat McFadden was asked about this yesterday on Trevor Phillips, he said he will be the Labour representative in the upcoming by-election. Yes, he will, is what he said. He wouldn't comment on whether or not he would be a candidate in the general election. You're also dodging that question.
No, it's not a question of, that's not the issue. The point is he'll be our candidate in the by-election, but like every other...
You can't choose anyone else at this late stage.
Well, no, it's correct that the deadline has passed. That's just a matter of fact. But I'm also saying that once you have a by-election, if a candidate is successful in the by-election, or indeed they are not, there is then a process after that, a different process for selection for the general election. That's just the rules of the party. But in terms of this by-election going forward, as I've indicated, Kay, in a couple of earlier answers, it is this apology, this recognition that Louise Ellman has brought out of standing up against anti-Semitism in the past, but also now this recognition, this realisation of the level of offence that's been caused and the need to rebuild trust. And I'd expect to see that action now.
OK, I understand it's tricky for you to defend this man this morning. Do you welcome the government's fraud plan today?
It's too little, too late, is the truth. We had around about 400,000 offences of fraud in 2012. That's up to over 3 million today. The government today is talking about a website, talking about an ad campaign, but they really have comprehensively failed to tackle fraud. And if you ever want to see a glaring example of that, it's with regard to COVID fraud, when their own minister in the Lords, Lord Agnew, back in 2022, walked away from the dispatch box, literally walked away from his responsibilities in protest at the government simply writing off billions of pounds of COVID fraud. What they should be doing is what we've been urging them to do, and have a COVID corruption commissioner who can actually claw that taxpayers' money back. That's what the government should be doing. I feel this is just too little at this stage.
OK. For now, thank you.
Thank you.